Hey, what would you do if you won the lottery? I was thinking about that this morning because Powerball is up to almost $2 billion, which means you would walk away for at least $1 billion if you took the lump sum. So I was meditating on, I was doing some quantum jumping to imagine that, okay, I've got $1 billion. What would you do? How would your life look if you had that access to that much money? I would take it and I would create a movement. Not that there aren't enough movements on the planet, but I would make a movement that was a little more mainstream with the proper publicity and advertising, and focus on calling in the thought leaders and the people that know how to shift our consciousness. You know, I've been teaching people how to do that since 2004 with the Silva training. And then I gave tours at the Christian Science Church in Boston, which is a church that was founded by a woman who rediscovered that lost element of healing that Jesus was teaching and explaining to people, and had the ability to do, and transmitted that information to his disciples and to the people he spoke to. That information is within every single one of us, but it needs to be activated. And we need people that can bring this information forth to the mainstream if we want people to really have access to it and raise their consciousness. It's always out there. It's in the books, it's in the YouTubes, it's in the, seminars and the workshops. But if you haven't really figured out how to tune into any of those things properly, it's kind of hidden. I know when I had my first big spiritual healing, which was a spontaneous healing of the belief of cancer, just like that, I went from total desperation to total freedom. And I said to myself and a few other people, now, how come this isn't mainstream? Just like when I learned how to use my imagination to imagine something I wanted and it would appear in my life. Why isn't that mainstream? Why didn't I learn about that in college or high school or church? Maybe somebody was trying to tell me, but I wasn't ready to hear it. Well, we're living in the time now of the Great Awakening. So bringing together the thought leaders who can, in a palatable way, get people on that journey of self-actualization by realizing that the inner world is controlling the outer world, not the other way around. In this 3D dimension, we have been believing completely, a lot of us, in just our 5 senses. If we can't experience it with the 5 senses, it's not real. Well, I got news for you. There are other dimensions, and we can actually access higher dimensions, invisible dimensions to our physical senses, but certainly real to our spiritual sense and our higher consciousness once we understand how we can access it. So that's why I taught the Silva training and trained a few thousand people, to get them to understand that you can go to an altered state of consciousness on command. You don't have to do it with drugs. You can just go within and meditate and get yourself into that alpha level where you can actually solve problems, reverse aging, heal yourself. You can do amazing things, but you need to get techniques. So if I had that $1 billion that I'm going to win tonight, probably, I would take that money and I would use it to bring more consciousness into the 3D dimension in a way that we can become superhuman, supernatural beings, which is our birthright. We are all meant to be much, much more than we think we are when we're living in this human body. We are multidimensional beings that just happen to have taken on this human form for a while to be here, to experience this time that we're living in, which is very, very, very epic. We are on the brink of a massive transformation. And it's pretty exciting. But the more people that get the information and the tools they need in order to transition comfortably, because it can be very disorienting when all of a sudden you realize you're living in a waking dream. Well, do you want to be in a happy dream or do you want to be in a scary dream? It's up to you. We're all creating our own lives moment to moment. And once we learn how to take charge and take responsibility and access the inner world of spirit, the kingdom of heaven is within, then we can free ourselves from fear, lack, anxiety, stress. And that's a really good thing.